All right, Rotarians and guests. It is 12:15 on Wednesday, which is always my favorite time of the week because it is Rotary time. So welcome everyone to the Rotary Club of York, a thriving club dedicated to a thriving city. I am your president, Aaron Jacobs, and it's great day to be a Rotarian. And you know as well as I do that what makes us outstanding community leaders is our commitment to being service above self and our four-way test. And let us recite that together now. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? You know, it's so good to know that I have each of those beliefs in common with all of you. And you know what? It can be really hard to walk into any room and find at least 3 people that you trust. And yet when I walk into this room, I see over 100 great Rotarians that I have trusted for years, and that's a wonderful feeling. And speaking of great Rotarians, let's start our program off in song with Brittany Reese, who will lead us in America the Beautiful, as well as the pledge, followed by the invocation by past president and Athena Award winner, Jackie Summers. Bill Hunter's going to do visitor introductions. He's pretty swell too, but I don't know if it gets him an applause. All right, Brittany, they're all yours.
If you'll join me, please. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just think it's important to note that there are many Athenas from this wonderful club. Dr. Roxana Gapster, Jody Keller, Jane Schuster, the wife of John Randall, Linda Randall, is a past Athena recipient. Lynn Bergdahl is a past recipient, and our speaker today is absolutely a past recipient of the Athena Award. So we have a lot of goddesses with us today. Would you please join me in a word of prayer? Eternal God, we lift up this time of fellowship and friendship, grateful for the freedoms we enjoy. May we never take for granted the opportunities made possible to us. Give us guidance to take meaningful steps in support of those we're called to serve. Help us to have the courage to open our eyes to issues that are hard to see. Please bless our speaker and her work in bringing awareness to the trauma of domestic abuse, sexual assault, human trafficking, and all forms of violent crimes. Provide our organization with the resources required to faithfully carry out their mission to eliminate racism, empower women, and promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. Give us the courage to stand up on behalf of those in conflict, and may we act in ways that promote healing and a way forward. Thank you for this food, that it may nourish and sustain us, and thank you too for those who have prepared and served it. To you we commend this time in thanksgiving and praise. Amen.
Good afternoon. We have a very lengthy guest list, so please bear with me, and I apologize for any mispronunciations. I'm pleased to have the honor of introducing our guests for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President Aaron has welcomed you. Guests of youth leadership: Lilani Pagero, Milagros Pagero, Henry Pagero, Maxwell Kruth, Paul Kruth, Barbara Kruth, Joanne Wilmore, Morgan Hepburn, Raquel Bratton. Guests of Sarah White, Emily Cover. Guests of the Membership Committee, Shanoy Moody. Guests of Dan May, Jim Johnston. Guest of Dan May, Maria May. Guest of Tom Donnelly, Jasmine Simpson. Guests of Bobby Ann DeLeo, Clara Anderson. These are all guests of Kim Bracey, our speaker today. Antonia Robinson, Lily Farmer, Alan Fry, Sean Jameson, Lorianne Smith, Ed Queen of Washington. Guests of Tony Schweitzer, Lori Leister. Guests of Teresa Gregory, Christy Riley Platt. Guests of Denny Bogman, Shantae Knight. Guests of Denny Bogman, Melanie Watts. Guest of Tom Caltagirone, Stephen Doria. Guest of John Eister, Heather Maxfield. Guest of Doug Berman, Amy Brillinger. President Aaron.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, guests, I'm going to let you in a little secret. In case no one told you yet, there is a strong possibility that someone in this room thinks you would make a really good Rotarian. And in case that person who invited you today didn't tell that secret to you, then I, as president of this club, am telling you that personally right now. I think you would make an outstanding member. Joanne, how many times have you visited us this year? Why aren't you a member yet? Come on. I'll sponsor you. Courtney, get her an application. So Rotarians, prove me right by welcoming these future Rotarians with a warm applause. Thank you. All right, on to announcements. The following committees will meet today at the Country Club of York following this meeting. These committees include the Youth Leadership Committee in the Terrace Room. The Little League Committee meets downstairs in the Mixed Grill, and the Youth Development Committee also meets downstairs in the Mixed Grill. It's a busy day for Rotary. The Rotary Club of York Board of Directors will meet tomorrow 8 o'clock via Zoom, and the Student Education Committee meets tomorrow at 12:30 via Zoom. So there you go. And now I'd like to invite President-elect Courtney to the podium to talk about membership application. Joanne.
All right, today I'm here to tell you about our new and improved membership application and proposer form, Joanne. The goal of me standing up here today is so that you know what to do as a member when you bring a guest to the meeting and they expressed interest in membership. You know exactly how to handle that moving forward. So what you're going to do is you're going to direct your attention to our club's website. You're going to go to yorkrotary.org. And on the right-hand side under resources, if you hover there, you're going to click on propose a new member. And then once you click on this, you can click on new member proposal form. So Aaron, this is what you can fill out for Joanne. You click on that, takes 2 minutes of your life. So you as a member of this club, fill us out saying, I think Joanne should be a member of this club. She's been here 400 times. Why is she not a member? And then Aaron will need to send Joanne the membership form. So if we go back to our website, you can click on the member application form and Aaron would just copy and paste the link at the top here. Yep, just copy and paste that right into an email, get that over to Joanne. And from there, she's able to apply. Everything's electronic, goes to all the right people in the club. And then Joanne can be a member and no longer have to stand up for guest introductions every single time. Thank you.
Gosh, Joanne, we sure had some fun at your expense, but we'll see who's laughing in March or April when we're inducting you as a new member to this club. And now I'd like to invite Eric Chase to the podium to do the Students of the Month presentations. Eric.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you the Students of the Month from Logos Academy. First, I'd like to introduce to you Leilani Peguero. She is the daughter of Henry and Millie, who you've met during our guest introductions. Some of her activities include handbell choir, volleyball club, In her spare time, she enjoys singing, reading, volleyball. I think this is interesting. She has a business called My Bouquet Business, which is an online business where she makes roses for special occasions out of ribbons, and she sells them online. So for all of you that haven't decided what you're going to buy your loved one for Valentine's Day, you can help Leilani out in her online business. She has been on the honor roll. This past summer, she attended the Young Peacemakers Academy with Messiah at Messiah University. She hopes to pursue a degree in the medical field, and she thinks she would like to be a nurse practitioner. The second student is Maxwell Caruth. He goes by Max. He's also a legacy. His brother Elliot was a student of the month also, so he's following in his brother's footsteps. He is the son of Paul and Barbara Caruth. He enjoys baseball, choir, handbell choir. He's on the York yearbook and media team, and he's on the chapel worship team. He also loves drumming, including his church worship team, music production, and other athletic activities. He's been on Distinguished Honor Roll 8 times, and he's also been a drummer for District 7 Jazz Band, and he just recently heard he is now a member for drumming for the PA State Jazz Band this year. He plans to pursue a career in musical performance, and one day would love to tour with the Christian band called King and Country. So, but I give you first Leilani. Leilani.
Greetings to the members of the Rotary Club, community leaders, and cherished guests. I am Leilani Peguero, and I am honored to stand before you today as a recipient of the Student of the Month recognition. I thank you and Logos Academy for this opportunity to speak today. I am eager to share a bit about my desire and the aspirations that motivate me. I've always been captivated by the significant impact that people working together can have on their communities. This passion for making a difference drove me to a Peacemakers program last summer through Messiah University. Over the course of a week, we dug into the core values of peace and peacemaking, actively engaging in projects that touch the lives of the community. Through engaging in workshops, meaningful discussions, and hands-on activities, we developed a deep appreciation for empathy, understanding, and the meaningful ways in which we could promote peace. Participating in the Peacemakers program extended beyond just activities. It provided an enriching experience at the Latino Hispanic American Community Center in Harrisburg. This visit transcended the boundaries of a service project, offering a chance to connect with individuals and families. We listened to their stories, understood their needs, and emphasized the transformative power of service as a bridge for fostering understanding. Furthermore, the program presented unique opportunities to explore organizations committed to peace work, such as the Mennonite Central Committee and the U.S. Institute of Peace in Washington, D.C. These experiences broaden our perspectives on the different ways individuals and groups are dedicated to creating a more unified world. Within the framework of the Peacemakers program, I also had the privilege of contributing to a farm in Mechanicsburg, where our labor provided food for the local community. In the heart of Washington, D.C., a collaboration with the church dedicating to aiding the less fortunate allowed us to display the values we had learned: compassion, unity, and the belief in positive change through collective efforts. This experience taught me that by aligning my actions with values, I can create a ripple effect of positive change. I personally am interested in the impact that individuals in healthcare can have on the lives of others. My dreams have always been motivated by the desire to have an important influence and to provide support for those in need. My ambition to work in the medical field is fueled by this passion. Joining the healthcare field isn't just a career choice for me. It is a calling driven by a deep-seated commitment to alleviate the physical and emotional burdens that people face. The Rotary Club's mission to improve life in the city of York through fellowship, action, and service deeply resonates with me. I see a future role in medicine as an extension of this commitment, a commitment to serving and uplifting the community. I am grateful for the support and guidance that has brought me to this point, especially to the teachers and family who have cared for my academic pursuits. As I move forward on this journey, I am not just a student with ambition. I am a member of a community that values collaboration and action. Receiving this honor makes me even more determined to help and support others, whether it's academically or, more importantly, through the compassion and care I hope to provide in the medical field. I am dedicating to making a positive impact. In closing, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to the Rotary Club of York for recognizing not just achievements, but also the shared vision there is to build a society where individuals support and uplift each other. Thank you.
And Rotarians, if you give a warm welcome to Max Caruth.
Hello, my name's Maxwell Cruth. Thank you for inviting me to share with you this morning. Thank you also to Miss Wilmore and Logos Academy for nominating me as one of the Rotary Students of the Month. Today, I'd like to share a little bit about an experience I had this past summer. Well, I would not like to take this time to talk about myself, but about others as well. I hope that my sharing shows the importance of service and selflessness, especially in a world where that is so often self-centered. In July of 2023, members of my church's youth group, along with a few leaders, drove down to Washington, D.C. for a one-weekish missions trip. As a preface, during our week, a young man from City Service Mission, or CSM, which was the organization that we were working with, acted as both a guide and a mediator between the organizations with which we were working and ourselves. He knew the leaders of all the organizations with which we were working. Throughout the week, a portion of each day was spent with a group of around 20 kids at an apartment complex's summer daycare. This young man from CSM told our group that these kids would have been off on their own, on the streets, likely getting into trouble if it weren't for this summer daycare that they had. It was evident how much these young men and women needed to feel loved and cared for. As we walked into the room as complete strangers, they greeted us very warmly, giving hugs and taking us by the hand to show us something they wanted us to see. Their energetic and positive attitudes were beautiful and were impactful to myself along with the other members of the group. They reminded me of the beauty of having the carefree attitude of a child. This act of service was not just service to them, but it taught us as well. Another opportunity we had to serve while in DC was working at a Franciscan monastery, which harvested many types of produce in order to provide nutritious food to the community for free. We worked for hours uprooting weeds and harvesting potatoes in this field which we were pulling weeds in. In doing this, we were able to lighten the load of those working at this place, help bring more nutritious food to those who need it, and use our healthy bodies to serve others. We had various other opportunities to serve while we were in DC, including working at a food bank and helping clean up an elderly woman's property. What's great about all of this is that it was not about us. Despite the fact that we were the ones putting forth the work in service, it was not about us at all. The world needs more of these acts of selflessness, which will positively impact the lives of others around us and ourselves as well. Thank you.
Max, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's not about me, it's those who we serve. And I think sometimes that we as Rotarians forget what an honor it is to be named Student of the Month by your school and by the hard work that goes into achieving something like this. But showing the level of leadership that they have at their age is remarkable. And I would tell you that these students are some of the people that this world desperately needs right now to serve. So I would tell you now, continue to serve your fellow students, your family, your community, and also yourself, Max. Our club is proud of you and wishes you all the best, and you do, and always remember service above self. And now I'd like to invite my second favorite Rotarian to the podium to introduce today's program. Calvin.
Second favorite. Assuming his first is himself. Hi at home. C. Kim Bracey serves as CEO for the YWCA York, a long-standing nonprofit organization that has the honor and privilege of serving our community through the dedicated mission of eliminating racism, empowering women, and promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. The mission of the organization has been empowered by their many donors, partners, and supporters throughout the York area and beyond. The work is selflessly carried out by their 165 associates. Their passion, expertise, and delivery of a full array of high-quality services provided to impact lives throughout York County. The YWCA York is ever focused and determined to make inspiring and a lasting impact while building a stronger community. We are blessed to have my good friend, Kim Bracey, here with us today as the new CEO of the YWCA. She is not only that, but a member of our Rotary. And if there's anyone who embodies what it means to be a Rotarian with her service before self, there's none other like Kim Bracey. My good friend, Kim Bracey. Here, a round of applause.
I know. There's all kinds of things Alvin was thinking about saying, and Eric would have been part of those comments as well. So, I am glad. Grab a chair. That you limited it to what you did. It is good to see all of you. Wow. I am usually online for our meetings. You can't see the people online, but you all have seen me before, right? So there we go. I am here today as the Chief Executive Officer for the YWCA of York, and it is my honor and pleasure to be here. I think the last time I spoke with Rotary, I had another hat. We were downtown York, and the room was packed, and I remember a standing ovation. So, just saying. When I was done, of course. So there's that. But today, as your Chief Executive Officer of the YWCA York, I have a few minutes of information to share with you. Also tell you about how you can be involved, all the wonderful things that are happening with the YWCA of York. I've been in place now since July 2022, so almost 24 months. I keep saying 18 months, but 24 months is upon us, and it has been my honor to be in this space and position. I have with us, as you've already heard, a whole group of people, and they tell me the orange and lettering wasn't because of our colors, but the YWCA senior leadership is here with us, and you all have already stood, but we have everyone from our CFO to our HR officer, our operations officer, yeah, who's running the place, right? So our chief program officer, as well as our impact officer, and Jane decided to go back home as well too. Your roots, yay, thank you. So at the YWCA, as indicated through Calvin and others' comments about us, we work daily to try to eliminate racism, empower women, and do all that we can in the community. That's the big overarching mission. We are affiliated with YWCA USA, and that comes down from there. And locally, we work proactively in that space to do just that. We collaborate with many individuals, as you know, and provide programming and those sorts of things to do just that, empower women and eliminate all things around that, domestic violence, sexual assault, and other forms of violence here in our York. And before I go any further, I also have to thank my dear friend Bobby Ann from the Literacy Institute for bringing my mom with her today. Mom, it's always good to see you. Seriously, y'all, she's here. She works with the Literacy Council, and Mom has been a staunch supporter in my public space for a long time, all my life. So thank you very much, Mom, for being here as well. You may see a picture in one of these YWCA slides. So the YWCA York has been around since 1891, leading change in all things, everything I spoke about already. We were started by some empowering women in downtown York, and there's been several locations in downtown York that we were in as well. Our flagship or main location is where everyone knows us to be today, 320 East Market Street. In 1951, that became our home. There's a bowling alley there, there's still a swimming pool. It was residential housing for women who worked within our community along East Market Street and doctors' offices, lawyers' offices, et cetera. That has changed a bit. We do not provide that sort of housing anymore. But this morning, I will say, this team here with us this morning provides sheltering for the fire that took place a block away at Columbia Avenue, where 3 people lost their lives. 6 a.m. in the morning, our early staff is there and see people in the streets, snow coats, shoes, opened up the doors immediately and brought them in. And little did we know, some people were in there and lost their lives. But we are an anchor in downtown York in that community, and thank you all for all that you do and did as well too. So East Market Street. So serving our community in 1963, part of the reason why I think Calvin asked me to be here today, well, to present, he didn't say it. It is Black History Month. And YWCA York, YWCA has been in the front of our civil rights movement since. And even in 1963, locally, led by Dory Leader, we took a bus to Washington, D.C. as well and participated in Dr. King's March on freedom and anti-poverty, all those sorts of issues. Those issues we still are rooted in today. And we have an award named after Dory Leader as such, our advocacy award, and we'll be having a luncheon in March. Look on our website for all those wonderful things that happened. But at that time, we were active in our community, probably part of the charrettes conversations and other things, civil rights as well. Fast forward, or not so much, but 2001, we decided to help our community and merge with some of our smaller nonprofit organizations, Access York, an organization charged with eliminating domestic violence and helping victims and survivors in that space. YWCA York merged with that organization. A few years later, we merged with the Victims Assistance Center, Jane, and took on that mission as well, still helping victims, survivors, women in the space of needing services, and we do that still today. And then they hired me, the first African-American woman. 130 years later, I guess, they hired me to serve as the chief executive officer. And we have a whole lot of other things, momentous things on the horizon that you will hear from us. As we made noise at the city, when I served in the other role, you'll hear all the things that we'll be doing with YWCA York as well. Last year, if someone would ask me how we did, I let the numbers speak for themselves. So again, we've been in service to others for 133 years. We boast at about 175, 76 employees. HR is nodding her head, okay, right now. And a budget of about 10 million, 9.1, depending on who I'm speaking to. And we are around in York County, 31 locations, everything from our schools to our shelters, our spaces that we provide for those that need assistance. Our organization is structured like all the other wonderful nonprofits in this room. We have a group of board of directors, and some of my bosses are here today. How am I doing, ladies? Thank you, Christy. President-elect Christy Rowley-Bass is here, and I know Treasurer-elect Heather Maxfield is here as well, led by a great group of individuals as far as our governing and just people that can help me bounce ideas off of and get indoors where I hadn't been able to, if you will, but I appreciate them. Also, Jody Appel has served as a Director Emeritus on our letterhead and was there for some time, and we're going to keep her there through the end of this fiscal year. But we appreciate all that Mrs. Appel did with our organization. There has been some specifics, and I would like to share that with you. She was instrumental in helping to save YWCA York in 2000. At that time, we were facing an operating deficit, and Jane and Deb know the story well. Mrs. Appel joined the organization as the board member and helped, of course, raise money and brought other strong women to the fold to make sure this organization stayed in place. She recruited these women to ensure that YWCA York was staying in downtown York even. And Jay, we were the first ones designated Elm Street from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania because of the other revitalization Mrs. Appel, Deb, and the entire team was leading in the east end of the city. We are forever indebted to Mrs. Appel and her contributions to YWCA York. So we have a host of other community partners from our neighbors right next door, Asbury Church. Many of you in this room, as you can see, we have them listed a board on our slide here, and appreciate those partnerships. Many of the individuals, of course, I knew before I took this role, and I was like, okay, this is going to be good. I know all these people. I can get in the doors and we can make some things happen, and we are. Lots of activities are happening. We are aligned with the United Way of York. Thank you very much, Brian. We also are affiliated with the other organizations, namely because of our youth programs that we have and our affiliations with Pennsylvania Coalition Against Domestic Violence, PCCD, all of the state agencies as well. And we couldn't do the work that we do without these partnerships. So we're going to go inside the organization a little bit and talk about the organization. We run a robust children and youth program, as well as the victim services. And so I'll speak a little bit about both of those. Our children and youth program, okay, it takes compassion, obviously, to work with our young people. And we run a pre-K preschool program. I tell everyone it's the second largest one in York County, right behind the school district of the city of York. They should be the largest, right? And we're right there as well, providing services throughout York County. We are in suburban, we are in northeastern, we're in districts where people wouldn't think that we are providing pre-K services, but where we know poverty exists and how we're trying to work hard to eliminate and address those issues. Where we have a couple directors here with us, thanks to our Rotarian colleague. We have Maria with us, our Director of Education. She is here and in picture there. She leads everything education and empowering our young people to think better and be stronger individuals. Accompanying Maria, she brought her colleague, Director Jim Johnston as well, who's actually over our pre-K counts program. So we do a lot in the community for our kiddos and in that space. And it takes compassion and true people to work with our little people. It brings joy to us as well, though. We still run the Quantum's Opportunities program. Many of you have known about that program for years. I remember when I was at South George Street Community Partnership, American City, we had two co-op locations in York. The one at the South George Street area and the one at the YWCA. And this is the only one that's still existing in York. It's a college readiness program. And we do all that we can to ensure our young people are in school, high school, getting the right grades, homework help when needed, taking college tours, introduced to STEM opportunities and anything that they might want to be. We recently, thanks to Lorian, took them down to Rockfish to watch a sous chef and his crew go at it for meal prep. These young people are inspiring or more, but this is a great photo. We are led by LaQuinn Thompson in that program as well. I didn't mention that, did I? Okay. We have a camp, a big camp, Camp Canada. And many of you, how many of you know about Camp Canada? Yep, okay. I remember talking to then Governor Wolf. He has memories of Camp Canadian as well, and we'll let him tell those when he wants to. But the lodge and campgrounds are very pristine, kept pristine, if you will. Our chief operations officer makes sure that our inner city kids are introduced to creeks, to outdoor life, to fishing. And I think we have a slide of them canoeing, kayaking, learning all of those things that they wouldn't get in downtown York. But a couple miles up in northern York County, they can have that experience for 11 weeks even. We bus them up from downtown York. Some of the families that are in the Northeastern School District actually drop off their kids to the camp during the week as well. So it is a wonderful opportunity for our young people and one we pride ourselves on. This work obviously takes commitment, right, from all of us. The individuals I mentioned this in the experience we had this morning to the things we do daily. We have another part of our mission to eliminate racism and work in that space. We have an annual race that we do to help us with that, of which everybody in this room can be part of. You don't have to run, because I don't. You can walk. You can be there to chat with one another. You can feel the energy. You can be part of the pledge that York County stands together saying we are not tolerating racism in our community, but you can also run if you really, really want to. It is always the last Saturday of April. It is coming up April the 27th, and the website is open for registrations. Bring your teams, bring your families, be part of that. Yay, right? Okay. Health and wellness is also something we do at the YWCA internally for our team, as well as offerings to the community. Everything from swim lessons for our young people, for anyone, to mindfulness and yoga. These are opportunities that exist within our space as well. We have a very active synchro team. Women and men that still swim in synchronized fashion, producing shows every spring and fall. And there's something to see if you haven't seen one of those. We're affiliated with national organizations, of course, and they are very, very active. They bring home the gold in the big bowls and really are special individuals to the YWCA work. And again, we do some mindfulness and yoga activities within. We provide that opportunity for the community to take part in every week as well, too. We offer that to everyone. So we try to make it all inclusive, and we are there for everyone. So again, part of our work takes a lot out of everyone. It takes indeed a lot of courage, a lot of self-reflection. It may not be for everyone. We conduct victim services, everything from domestic violence assistance, emergency shelter assistance, 24-hour crisis hotline. Last month, the month of January, all of us was engaged in our anti-human trafficking work. You may have seen us in the media, heard us on WITF, really communicating about that issue, human trafficking happening right here in York. But our services are of no cost through the many partnerships that I mentioned already, the United Way, PCAR, PCADV, to allow us to provide those services. We also have a wonderful relationship with the county, from the DA's office to all of law enforcement and the elected officials to ensure that our alleged abuse, our victims are provided with the necessary services. York County provides they have a standalone protection from abuse order office to help with the processing and assistance that is needed to victims. And we stand alongside York County, providing that service, if you will, for 450,000 people if necessary. So we appreciate that partnership and know that it takes all of us to really start addressing those issues as well. We have testified, some of the slides show that, and then given testimony regarding numbers, the amount of cases and those sorts of things that we have seen in York County. YWCA York, Access York Victim Services is known throughout the Commonwealth for the work that we do. With that, our team often is in training and receiving CEUs and also debriefing and decompressing, if you will. This is heavy work that they take on. John Schmidt mentioned to me on the way in, our shelters are usually in undisclosed location. Most of us in York know where they're at, but it takes a lot to operate those older buildings and keep those up and running and ensuring that we have space for oftentimes the wait list. We do get funding for hoteling because it gets set full at times, but we endeavor to continue to work in the space and work hard for any and everyone that find themselves as victims. Part of our work is also addressing sexual assault. Sexual Assault Awareness Month is coming up. Sexual Assault Walk a Mile event is coming up. Most people associated that with domestic violence. It is actually an international men's march to stop rape, sexual assault, and gender violence. Really doesn't have anything to do with domestic violence, so we moved it out of October and we're putting it in September. I think the board knows about that. Okay, thank you, Christy. The specific event was designed to get men involved in ending men's sexualized violence. As we all know, men are not the only perpetrators of sexual violence. Women are not the only victims. But this event, this trademark event that YWCA York has been affiliated with for a long time, focuses specifically on men ending men's sexualized violence, especially towards women and femme-provoking presenting folks. So men in these shoes, you feel the pain. I mean, it's all synonymous and it does work, but it is towards ending sexual assault or sexualized violence. So please sign up now. We have shoes ready for you even. It will be in downtown York. It may be at the stadium, Eric. I'm not sure yet, but it will be in September. And we are looking forward to a good participation as we've had over the years. Last year, I think, was the first year's post-COVID, and we had a very good showing and also raised quite a few dollars. So it is a worthwhile event, and we will continue to have it. So it takes all of us, y'all. It takes all of us to really create this community that we want for girls, especially for women, especially for communities of colors across the country, across our county, to really be that change. It does take all of us. And there are opportunities. We have this really nice website that's been designed, thank you, Aquina, with the funding and support of the Powder Mill Foundation as well, too, that you all should check out. I will say it's one of the best in York. I said one of the best. With my team, I probably say the best, right? Okay. All right. In New York, YWCAYork.org. Check it out. You will find all of our events, opportunities to get involved, volunteer opportunities as well. And my information is here for your information as well. So that's kind of my presentation. I just have one more piece, President Jacob. Okay. And I think I have time. In honor of Black History, we have a bit of Black history for our Rotary Club. Who can tell me who was the first African-American Black person to be a member of this club? Anybody? Okay, I heard that one. Okay. Anyone else? All right, so Kim Bracey thought it was Bobby Simpson too, called him up. He said no. So Dr. Frederick Holliday, the first African-American superintendent for York City School District, is, according to Bobby, on record as the first African-American member of our club. He was superintendent from 1974. He was my superintendent. And I remember him when I was in school. So I graduated in 81. His daughter graduated at 80. So he was superintendent 6-7 years. And he brought the legend in. Okay. That's Bobby Simpson's story. And that's your Black History moment for today. Thank you all very, very much. You all are the best. I appreciate being a Rotarian with you. I will take any questions, President Jacob. We have a microphone that you're supposed to use. I am hearing challenged, so you got to use that. If you have any questions. Up way back there.
Kim, Camp Connecticut continues to be a successful summer program for the York area, but there are quite a number of other camps that, I remember my kids went to that no longer exist for a number of reasons. To what do you account the success of Camp Connecticut's programs?
Wow, personally, I would say it is history, number one. And to your point, Harrisburg's YWCA's camp closed last year, and they sent individuals to us as well. So you're right. Camps, pools don't really quite do it, and they do end up closing. But our reputation, the stellar programs that we provide, I think having a pool on site as well as the creek, hiking opportunities, and thanks to Alan, we are providing rental, and he's making it more broader, but we are providing rental opportunities to anyone to use the campgrounds. In fact, I believe this weekend, Alan, there's a group of men that go up every Super Bowl weekend, yo. Watch the Super Bowl. That's what they're doing. And then just enjoying the whole rough experience, if you will, camping and the campgrounds. One of the lodges have indoor plumbing, electric, I guess cable, whatever it takes. But every year these guys bring it down. It's been that way since I've been there. And I'm like, okay. But we've had weddings there. We do endeavor to spruce it up and fix it up. We're requesting some funds as I speak, a thing from the state. You're nodding your head to really make it a showpiece place so that we can do more of those rental opportunities and have a premier camp experience. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Obviously a very important cause. I would like to hear more if you have some just statistics around sex trafficking in York County, because I know we're sort of a hot spot for it, right?
Yeah. And from what I understand and learned in this space are connections to the turnpike, to any of the 83 to even 30 makes us that sort of hotbed. Recently, or at least in January, when we gave an interview with Fox, we were partnered with the folks from Lancaster's YWCA because of 30. I guess if I had more to say about it, it would be around the fact that many people don't see themselves as human trafficked either. It's a job. My boyfriend has me working, sort of thing. So there's any number of reasons that we have seen a rise and an uptick here. Of course, we all would blame, I would, because I'm just old fashioned, the internet as well too. For people to pick up folks, to find people and use maybe a vulnerability for reasons to align with them, and the rest is sort of history, unfortunately. We do all that we can within our schools, any community events, sharing some of those perils and things to watch out for throughout the community. It's something we're seeing more of nationally, internationally, as we all know, but definitely in this area. That looks like a friend back there. Okay.
I miss seeing you downtown, I must say. To kind of follow up on the previous question.
Yeah.
In the area of domestic and sexual violence, the statistics tell me that York County continues to unfortunately be a leader in high numbers of these kinds of awful events. And it kind of runs against our self-image, in a room like this. We don't quite, and I don't quite get why is York County so mired in this kind of violence? And what is it that a group like us can do to try to address it?
Thank you. obviously volunteer and work with us on any number of issues. We held our first Justice Gala last month around human trafficking to raise more dollars to be able to do more work throughout our community. And we will have that event next year as well. Be observant, be in tune with your neighbors, your friends, maybe even in this room. It is a statistic. We come right under Philadelphia County in terms of PFA work as well too. So our legal advocates are often very busy along with York County Courthouse in that space. Yeah, I wish I had the answer. If I did, I probably wouldn't have that part of my job. But we work hard to ensure that people are at least educated and aware of signs and where services are available, confidential services as well. We have a whole counseling staff. Our hotline provides that entry into our services as well. And as I indicated, we have emergency shelter and even transitional housing for folks that are really working themselves into a new lifestyle, if you will. So I really don't have the answer as to why, but you are more than welcome to join us in the fight against it. Please. Oh, God. You're standing for Kevin today, right, Brian?
Kevin told me to ask this question. No, I'm just kidding. Just shifting gears a little bit, you talked a little bit about your work in early childhood education. I don't know if we understand the magnitude of all the children you serve. So could you give us like a number of the children that you're serving throughout our York County? And are you looking to expand that service? Is that something that the YWCA is going to be moving forward?
Expand. No, yeah, the need is there. I haven't talked, and I really haven't talked about this with anybody. This is a dream, and I think it's one that we should really explore. I know York County has done a lot of work in the early education space, so I know I'm not the first one to think about it. But because we have 250 kids in downtown York, Jim? Okay, somewhere around there, Narian. Okay. And throughout York County, 285, I mean, we're in schools, et cetera. We have to do more than, in my dream, more than the 6:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Because even in York County, right, we're working 3 shifts. And I would like to really be the first, I'll say I am, to explore that and provide that service, the after hours, the odd shifts for folks. And you all are hearing it first, Christy, President-elect. It's just, I don't know what the YWA has done in that space before, but I think it's something we should explore. We owe it to York. We owe it to York County to do just that. And I'm all in for doing something like that, Brian. Does that work for you, sir? Okay, thank you. President Jacob, I think that's it, sir. All right.
All right. Well, she gifted you a few minutes there, didn't she? Kim, when I think of York's YWCA, I think of what a legacy organization should be for our city. And I believe it's only fitting that a legacy organization have a legacy leader like yourself. But one of the challenges of being a legacy is knowing when and how to pivot while staying relevant. And I think I learned today that both Kim and the YWCA have done both of these things. I thank you to both you and the team you brought with you for all the programs, the passion, and the service you bring to our community. And we all ask that you keep up the good work. Let's give them another round of applause. In honor of the program today, Kim has signed the book Platelet in a Testament of Hope by Dr. Martin Luther King. This will be donated to the students and library at the Logos Academy School with a bookmark by Creative York. If I don't mention that, Lindbergh Dahl gets mad at me. It's true. But anyway, that was a great program. And next week, you want to know what we're going to do next week? A great program. That's right. So if you remember a few weeks ago, we had Julie from Flinch Balls here throwing apples around at us. Well, next week, we're going to hear from Philip Givens, president of the Pretzel Company, who, if we're lucky, will come and throw pretzels at us. Philip began his small pretzel bakery right in downtown York, which has blossomed into the pretzelcompany.com, a growing direct-to-consumer e-commerce brand that ships York's favorite soft pretzel nationwide. Through his recent partnership with QVC and their live television broadcast, Philip and his team now craft up to 20,000 handmade twisted pretzels, shipping them to enthusiastic fans nationwide. Philip will share his story of remaining committed to York while shifting the company's mission, experiencing substantial growth, all while aligning with Philip's passion for sharing authentic, hand-twisted, bakery fresh, that's a lot of adjectives, soft pretzels with pretzel enthusiasts across the country. It's going to be a good one. And until then, have an amazing Rotarian week. This meeting is adjourned.